everybody. Welcome to Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast, your weekly companion to your favorite show on Netflix. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I am joined here by Daily Wilhelm.
Heyo.
Jack Cepeda.
Hiroshimasu, everybody.
And Colin Sparling.
I would just like to give an ode to all of the beer that they drink on Terrace House. They drink a lot of beer. Like, are we just gonna like skip over that fact? Like, they drink, I feel like every meal somebody has a beer.
Leave it to the guy who works at a brewery.
Well, I was just thinking that because I'm drinking a beer myself. And yes, I work at a brewery in Seattle. By the way, we just got rated top place to drink by Lyft in Seattle.
Wow.
You're going to get some fans from the show coming to visit you now. You're giving too many identifiers out there.
Yeah, now they'll know where you work.
I mean, it's an extremely public place. I'm not worried about it.
Fair
awesome,
enough.
man.
So,
it's right by the Maserati dealership.
I mean, the place is hard to miss. If you're in Seattle, you're gonna find it. Like,
yeah, let's just say he's optimistic about whether or not you're going to find the place he works at.
yeah, just don't murder me, please.
So
You said this about Taka, you bastard!
On today's episode of Tadaima, we're going to be recapping part 4 of Opening New Doors on Netflix, because we're gearing up for that coveted, that special, that unbelievable part 5 debut on December 18 for you international Netflix viewers out there, which is probably most of you. And in our last episode, we recapped part 1 through 3. So if you haven't listened to that yet, feel free to check it out. But today, we're starting right with episode 25 and going on until episode 32.
And just as a reminder, the cliffhanger for part 3 was basically the kiss out of nowhere and the fallout from that. So that's kind of where we revisit this. And so we had to wait. All those Terrace House fans from North America had to wait 8, 9, 10 long weeks stewing over that to see the resolution. And so I don't know about you guys, but I was really waiting for that to be addressed right back with the next episode. But that wasn't necessarily the case.
Mm-mm. Do we all just want to start talking about the Seina x Shohei debacle, this whole part?
Yeah. So that wow, what a trip this whole thing was. So I don't know where to start. The thing that my mind instantly went to, I can't remember where in the timeline this is, it escapes me, but the part where Noah was just all of a sudden confessing to Shohei that yes, in fact, I do like Seina, right? And so like Shohei's like, okay, and in true Shohei fashion, he's just like, this means war. I'm like, oh fucking yeah,
so dramatic.
And then Noah's just chill, like, yeah, I guess so.
He's like, yeah, I guess so.
Noah's like, I already know. We've been making out for like weeks, dude. So it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
You don't know that till the end of the part, but like,
Right.
Oosh, it's rough.
But
being
admittedly,
Shohei.
at that moment, from the information that we have and the information that Noah appears to have, it looks like Shohei and Seina are very much a couple at that point. That, they're going out and there's rumors of them kissing, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not until later on that it's kind of thrown in there that, oh, by the way, Noah and Seina are like have been a thing secretly. It's just kind of slid in there after it's been almost solidified to us, the audience, that Shohei and Seina, there's a good chance they're going to be a thing still, even after the kiss.
Yeah, I think it was first revealed when Yui and Ai are in the house and they're just talking on their own. And Yui mentions how she once, like during that one party they had where everyone got fucking drunk, that Noah went outside, he puked, Seina went to help him, and then they just started kissing. I vividly remember this because Yui was like, vomit kiss. I don't know what
kiss.
Vomit kiss.
Did you enjoy your vomit kiss? Yeah.
What's Japanese for vomit, Daily? Do you know?
It was like giro?
Giro?
Something like that. I forget. Osurimashita, sumimasen.
But yeah,
Well,
so
anyway,
apparently they
yeah.
like each other enough to kiss through some vomit, which is gross.
Listen, I've done my fair share of drinking. I've never gone to that level though, where like my inhibitions are just that closed off, right? That like out of sync. And so, wow, they must have been really, really tore up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what you call a puke and rally, my friends.
or maybe their love for each other burns so strong, right, guys? Maybe.
Through the vomit.
Through the
It cleans the vomit
don't
as the
talk about
kiss.
burning vomit now. Guys, this is Terrace House.
the
This is
title
supposed
for
to be our
this.
pure podcast about Terrace House, right?
Is there another way to dispose of vomit?
This is our puke.
It's
podcast.
ironic because this part is probably the least pure Terrace House has ever been. Right?
It's they're going places.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
There's some spots in Aloha State that I won't mention for the sake of daily.
Right. But I mean, we basically get some softcore porn by the end of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, we're jumping all the way here.
We're jumping,
Wait a minute,
we're
wait a
jumping
minute, wait a
ahead.
minute.
You're going a little too fast. Still okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back
Let's
to Shohei. Let's go back to Shohei with Seina. How at the camping trip they kissed again. But it still felt very similar to that one time they kissed after Seina's birthday dinner.
Yeah,
Awkward, you mean?
they were plastered too in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like that. They were at that point where, or at least we know Seina was. Seina was at that point where like she looked like she was about to pass out in her chair.
Yeah.
Like level of drunkenness.
Although,
And
I mean-
Shohei's like, well, this is a good opportunity as any to get a kiss in.
And you have to wonder, right? Because so later on, we find out that Noah and Seina disappeared together at some point. You have to wonder where in the timeline that was. How drunk was she? They probably most likely were kissing on that trip, which is highly speculated.
right. We don't have proof, but it's likely.
Yeah,
Which is really sad with the juxtaposition of like Shohei, like the reason, not necessarily the reason why they were drinking, but like they were kind of celebrating, he got, what was it, like number 3 on Spotify or something like that, his
Japan.
band.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's huge. And everyone was congratulating him and he cried and everyone cried a little bit because they were like proud of him. He was proud of himself. And then like before he was like kissing Seina, he was talking about like, I want to ask you something, but I don't want to ask you it while I'm, drunk. And later, I think he alleged that he, said some things that he wanted to say while sober, but he said them while he was drunk on the camping trip. And I don't remember if like we saw what that was exactly, other than just like him being like super affectionate with her.
Yeah, that was essentially all we saw at the camping trip.
And well,
Yeah.
that's just one side of the love parallelogram. It wasn't a love triangle; it was a love parallelogram.
Love rhombus.
Because that's Shohei and Seina, right? But on the other side of this was Yui and Noah, right? And that's when she decided to pull him aside and pull out her list,
Yeah.
her paper list.
Prepared paper for this.
Yes, to
We are a prop-based
like-
podcast.
basically question him to see if he's worthy of her virginity, essentially.
Yeah.
And so she's got grand plans and schemes in mind for her potential relationship with Noah, and he's skipping off making out with Seina on that very trip.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder
Go ahead.
I wonder if like, okay, so they're sitting on that swing during the camping trip, and then she's just grilling Noah, like she's letting him have it.
The fucking funniest shit ever. Man.
Yeah, she's just like, why are you being such a piece of shit? Why are you going out partying and drinking all the time when you should be searching for a job and working on becoming a pilot?
Consider shaving
And-
your beard.
Yeah, that part is like my favorite thing.
It
Just like,
doesn't work for you.
can I feel your beard?
Thanks, Mom.
I'd reconsider it.
I'd reconsider it, dude. Fucking no chill. No
just wow? Yeah, she took an axe to his ego.
Right.
chill. He didn't give a shit though. He didn't.
Oh, not at all. I wonder what happened. Right. I wonder if was it Yui that mentioned in the first? I don't remember. Is it Yui that mentioned in the first place that she saw Noah and Seina going off? Was it her that said it?
With
think
like
maybe.
the puke kiss.
I
the
think
vomit kiss.
everyone knew.
No, I mean during the
because-
camping trip. 'Cause-
Yeah, no, that everyone was like, they couldn't find them because like literally everyone looked for them.
Was looking
right.
for. Oh, they disappeared. Yeah, it's not like they just went off. A little ways. They like got lost together.
Because they kept having the like, oh, we've never really talked. Noah and I have never really talked.
Yeah.
Right. They were trying to cover it up.
Right.
But
And it was kind
like
of
they were just playing it off for the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
And the editing was playing that up too. The way they were editing the show didn't make it seem like they were really had any sort of communication rather.
It turns out that the reason why they never talk is because they're too busy using their mouths for other stuff.
Like what?
Damn.
Like what, Jack?
Like
Drinking water.
whistling.
vomiting, apparently.
Whistle competitions, yodeling,
Duck calls,
Mongolian throat singing.
Gregorian chanting.
That's the kind of music. That's why Seina wasn't into Shohei, is that he didn't do the kind of music that she was into, which is Mongolian throat singing.
Yeah, if you could do that, then maybe they'd be together. Clearly
Maybe
not the
then.
case.
Oh shit, guys!
And I guess while we're talking about Yui and Noah, we cannot forget the first half of this part, where the major climactic battle between Yui and Mayu was taking place, where Mayu kept trying to get Noah's attention so much, crashed and burned at the waterfall.
She was swimming upriver, man. She was swimming up a waterfall. Like, I mean, that's what she was doing when they went to the waterfall.
Yeah, just swimming up the waterfall.
She ran into a bear. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those situations where I'd like to be like, oh, like it was just a miscommunication. But Noah was doing his part in being very much disinterested and uninterested in her advances, in being like, oh, it's probably going to rain that day. We probably won't be able to go. Or I don't really want to go out to eat. I'm just going to go to the convenience store. Like, he gave her many outs to stop this
signs.
kind of embarrassing behavior that she was doing.
He was trying. He's like, yeah, I literally lied about going to take a bath. Just to get out of that situation when Mayu was laying it on really thick during that.
Do you think that
date
might
night.
stem from the fact that, you know, she's a swimsuit model, right? And she made it very clear upon her entry in the house that she thinks she's very attractive. So you think maybe like it was kind of like her blinders were on, where it's like, you know, I mean, he'll come around. I'm hot. Of course he's gonna end up dating me.
So you're saying, you're thinking that she thought her looks were just going to do the work for her.
See, I gotta say that I think that she probably has a low self-esteem. I think it's probably the opposite, Robert. I think she doesn't think enough of herself, which is why she's so worried about mirroring other people to get them to like her.
Yeah,
right?
that's like her
mechanism.
sentiment. Yeah, that's a good point.
I can see that. So Mayu
Yeah,
crashes
that's
and
hard.
burns, and this leads to Yui. Like, you see her change, and I remember when she first came on, she alluded to the fact that she has a dark side, and at first you don't really see it, but the more she's winning against Mayu, the more it comes out, where you kind of see her like being a lot more passive aggressive to Mayu, and very like pretty much lying to her face, basically.
Yeah.
And it
it
culminates in one of the coldest lines in the history of Terrace House, where Mayu's about to leave, and Taka turns to Yui and is like, "You have anything to say?" And Yui's like, "Ooh, nothing comes to mind." And then Mayu leaves.
Damn.
Yui.
Ice
And
cold.
it's so weird that this is what happened with Yui, that she became like essentially Yamachan's favorite because of how cold she was. But
She's scary.
It just didn't seem like it was going to be that way at first, because, you know, she was very like, oh, this is my first time like living with other people. I've never been away from my mom for so long. I'm going to miss her. And even initially when she and Mayu were clashing, she was upset by that, and she wanted them to still be friends. And that's why, you know, she tearfully went to Mayu and was like, you know, Noah and I have been going out a lot, and, you know, I don't even know if I like him, but I don't want that to get in the way of our friendship. And if I do wind up liking him, I want to be able to tell you that. And that felt very heartfelt. So I'm wondering where the exact moment was that she was just like, I don't care. I'm not going to give a shit if your feelings are hurt. And maybe that was because Mayu just like really ardently pursued Noah, even though he clearly was not interested.
And apparently there was some offline beef too, I think, on Instagram posts.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think we also have the scene where Yui goes in and talks to Taka, right? I think he talks to Taka about Noah. And basically there's that scene where she comes back out from doing that, and Taka basically reaffirmed Yui to go for Noah. And Yui comes back out in the living room where Mayu is, right? And Yui just, for the life of her, cannot play it cool at all.
No, she has no poker face.
Oh, not at all. And so, you know, Mayu's like, well, what did you guys talk about? She's all giggly, and she's like, nothing at all.
That was so strange. I didn't take Yui for being that much of like a liar. You know, she ended up kind of being like, for me, like the Darth Vader of the house, though, because she's scary. She really is. Like I'd be the most scared of her if I lived there, like to ruffle her feathers.
Oh yeah, totally. And but yeah, to your point, Jack, just like the Instagram stuff. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of off-camera stuff surrounding the Instagram and beyond that I think we didn't get, which is what perpetuated a lot of the drama.
Yeah, I remember now the commentators were mentioning that. They brought it up, how they were having offline beef on Instagram. And
right.
I think Mayu was trying to call Yui out for like, oh, I thought you were a virgin, or I thought you never kissed anybody, or something like that. There was a lot more going on than what was portrayed just on, the editing floor, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
And
dang.
It's just
cold.
It's kind of a shame, but I'd like to hope that Mayu learned something. And she's walking out. Well, she walked out of Terrace House, but I'd like to hope that she walked out with lessons learned, and she's a stronger person and a better person. It's all the best to her.
I never disliked her.
Yeah.
I just thought she was bad at reading people, or even if she saw those signs in Noah, she just kind of didn't want to believe them because she wasn't left with a lot of options at that point. As to like remaining on Terrace House if everyone was like really conveniently pairing up. So yeah, I think she just wound up stuck in a hard place and didn't want to acknowledge defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to go out with some sort of grace. But do you remember, Daly, since you've seen the episode most recently, so the commentators mentioned the whole Instagram beef that happens between Mayu and Yui. What exactly happened there? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I remember having the impression that I think it's interesting that Terrace House, things are happening live and people are able to kind of view that even while filming's going on, just via everyone's social media. Whereas I think some other reality TV shows, at least in the West, usually like kind of cut people off, which I don't think is realistic to do anymore because social media has become kind of like people's other arm, and to, cut that off is kind of weird and makes things almost ingenuine.
Right. And Jack pretty much hit the nail on the head when it came to that Instagram debacle. It was mostly Mayu commenting on Yui's picture. According to the host, it was Mayu commenting on Yui's pictures, saying stuff like, oh, I thought you'd never held a boy's hand. Oh, I thought you
That's what it
only
was.
kissed people once. Oh, just kind of like always fact checking her or always accusing her, being suspicious of whether or not Yui is being truthful in the house.
Right.
Which kid?
I think right. And I think that's Mayu. I think it almost comes off as like a defense mechanism, right? Like I just think she was like desperate to find some sort of dirt on Yui because I don't think she could come to terms with the fact that like Noah didn't really like her.
For me, the sad irony here is that they were competing for Noah, and he didn't turn out being quite as high spec, I think, as first impressions would
Right.
give you the impression for.
So like he still has daddy's money. So if you're looking for a guy who's rich and loaded, he's still high spec in that regard. But
I mean, he's gonna inherit it. But if you remember, his dad and his parents both said to him that people need to find their own way. Mm-hmm. So he didn't really have like an allowance or anything. It didn't sound like.
Yeah, and you kind of learn later throughout the show that Noah just parties all the time, even though he got that job via Taka. So like Taka is risking his reputation, right? By saying, hey, this guy Noah, he's a good worker, like he should work here. And then Noah just kind of blows off work. There was that one episode I remember where he said he was feeling sick in the morning, which probably means hangover. And then he went to a doctor, and then when the doctor was done, he was like, well, I'm going to go play basketball now. And he was like, but what about, you called off work?
And you know what? I'm surprised that we didn't see any scenes of Taka bringing that up.
True.
I wonder if that happened offline.
That is a good point. If I was Taka, dude, I would kind of be pissed. You know what I mean? If I refer to a guy to my place of work,
your brewery,
yeah. Anyway, and they just start being lazy, not showing up to work, all that stuff. I mean, like, I would be pissed, like, because you put your neck out to get someone a job, and then they make you look bad.
It's one thing if they're really sick and you're in bed all day, and you go to the doctor and you start feeling a little bit better, and and you hang around the house. But to go play basketball is just so blatantly arrogant.
Yeah,
it's just really disrespectful.
Yeah,
right. You're basically saying that, like, oh, there was nothing wrong with me at all, and like I'm just being a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it surprised me because I remember when Noah first came on, there was a lot of scenes of him like sitting in the guys' room and like studying, or, you know, the whole reason he got the job was because he was so determined for saving money for the pilot's license test. And then slowly it kind of became like, oh, he's sleeping in all the time, he's skiving off work, etc. He really went from being like this princely character to like just this kind of bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
He became the dude.
The dude.
Yeah,
He
the
abides.
dude. I think it's becoming like, so what's interesting too, because we heard all this about Noah actually kind of being a bum and going out drinking all the time, but we don't actually see any of it, right? And it's becoming more and more of a trend as time goes on in this new series of Terrace House, where we're just being surprised a lot. I feel like that's becoming a common theme here. Whereas when it happened in, say, Boys and Girls in the City, it was like a huge thing when that happened, because it basically only happened once.
Yeah.
Kind of like that off-camera debacle. That I won't go into too much detail. But now it's like we're kind of expecting it. I don't know. It could just be me, but watching the show now, I'm expecting there to be more to almost everything that happens.
And I'm wondering why that is. I mean, you have to wonder, is that a creative choice, or is that just they only record in shifts? And so you wonder.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I get the idea that like you only have so much permission to go certain places as a camera crew and things like that. But like the Seina and Noah thing, I kind of get that for kind of bringing that to its peak and drama kind of exploding all at once. I think that's just interesting storytelling. But the whole idea of like Noah actually being a partier on the side, like I think they could have showed us that, right?
I don't know why that would have been an issue. And you got to wonder here now, maybe this is where this show really differs from what we come to understand from reality TV, whereas maybe Terrace House is a show where the members of the house, if there's something that they don't want on camera, they pretty much have as much control as they want to make sure it doesn't get on camera. And that's a departure from what we're used to in terms of the language of reality TV.
And something
Seems that way.
here to consider too is that a lot of times you'll notice throughout all the seasons of Terrace House that the people on the show can watch their own episodes. Like it's usually a 6-week delay, 3 to 6 week delay, but you'll see at times where you're like, oh man, remember when this happened? They're like watching it on Netflix, right? On the show.
Yeah.
And part of that too might be that, you know, you're trying to build dramatic irony and that the audience knows something that the people on the show don't. But once you, like, let's say they did film Noah and Seina going off together in the camp, right? It'll only be a matter of time before Shohei becomes the audience and sees that, and that in and of itself affects the house. Like, so that would be very meta. It would be Terrace House affecting Terrace
I see what
House.
you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, selective
Interesting
editing
point.
for the purpose of the contestants as well, or contestants.
Who's gonna
strangers,
win?
people in the house.
How,
characters, yeah.
You know what? This brings a larger question here. Daly, I'm curious to ask you this question. How should we refer to the members of Terrace House? Are they members? Are they roommates? Are they characters? Are they, you know what I mean? Like how, like what are they?
I mean,
what are their pronouns?
I think member, just because that's how, like, in the show they refer to like getting a new member, shin member.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because I do keep wanting to go back and say like characters, but it's like these are people. They're just, you know, people. And that's why I think there are some kind of moral debacles then when you're like shipping people and it's like they are real people with, you know, real lives and real prerogatives and real feelings. And we can't, you know, project ourselves upon that and, you know, force them to do or get mad at them for not behaving the way that we expect them to. Right. I mean, I think it's fair to be kind of mad at like Noah when he's, you know, putting, you know, Taka's reputation at risk, but simultaneously we can't be like, oh, but he was supposed to be, you know, like the prince character for Yui.
You were the chosen one.
See,
You were supposed to be better than this.
in some ways I agree with that, but also they all sign contracts to be on a TV show. So I'm like, I'm sure that just like by virtue of, hey, I'm going to be on TV, you're playing a character. You know, if you met these people in real life, like at a bar or something, they'd probably act differently. Or they might put on that same character because they're thinking, oh, you know me from Terrace House, so I've got to be Noah from Terrace House.
Yeah, and I think so, like, too, when there is a person in the house that is sort of playing a character, for the most part, it's usually pretty noticeable. I think Seina is a good example, right? There's definitely quite a few moments where you could probably say that she's playing a bit of a character, or at least she's overplaying herself a little bit. She's upping it. You know?
She's very aware. I feel like she's the most aware that they're on a show.
I mean, this is her fourth rodeo.
Yeah, she's a vet.
Right.
She's a vet. Fourth appearance?
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah, she's a vet. Yeah. She needs to go on and graduate. Come on, Seina.
Go
find your youngins elsewhere.
Gross. So let's rope this back to Shohei here. Let's talk about his departure, because we've talked about Mayu leaving, but we haven't talked about probably the most tear-filled departure of Terrace House history.
I think of two things. I think of him crying in the middle of the song, Rambling Rose, and I think of Coleman lawn chairs.
Yeah.
When I think about his departure.
That product placement, right? It was very powerful.
Oh my god,
It was iconic.
like, it was so obvious. It was like, well, Coleman has a habit of having product placements in Japanese things. I mean,
Really?
Final Fantasy 15, anyone?
Oh, it's true.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There's Coleman camping gear in Final Fantasy 15.
Wow.
Wow.
Among other sponsors, including credit cards.
Cup noodle.
Yeah, cup noodle.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the big finale with the barbecue / concert at the house, but also we kind of skipped over it. But before he leaves the house, the Noah and Shohei, they have another talk in the bedroom where Noah essentially tells Shohei in a joking fashion that him and Seina kissed.
Oh, yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah, and that was my kind of like want to punch Noah in the face moment.
Like that is one of those moments where it's like, if they weren't on camera, like how would he have reacted? Because like I think he let Noah off way easy with just being like, he was like, you know, I don't understand why you're doing this. Like how you can like just be like telling me laughingly.
Yeah.
that
He's like, I don't
kiss
get
Seina.
you. Like, dude, yeah, you're right. He was way easy on him.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
very calm and collected, which I give him respect for, because you have to have a very cool head to respond to something that way.
Yeah, that would have resulted in a punch in the face if this was like Real World or Big Brother or something.
I just don't know what Noah was thinking. Like, was he trying to get a rise out of him? Was he trying to
like
be a
it, yeah.
jerk, or was he just
seemed
that
antagonistic.
ignorant?
Yeah.
Why else would you tell someone that? I mean, you have to be expecting, unless you're just so in your own head that like the whole expectation versus reality thing that Jack was talking about in the last episode.
Yeah.
But like he was
Was he
just like,
drunk? Was he drunk?
I
Was he
don't
buzzed?
know. I think he was just one of those things where like he just thought he could throw it in there and pass it off because he's like, oh yeah, you know, Shohei did the whole I declare war thing. I'm just gonna slip in there that like I'm winning. I don't know. It
try
doesn't
that
come
shit.
off anything other than egotistical.
I was just going to say, try that shit on the Floribama coast and see what happens to you.
Yikes.
Fucking Noah.
See, I feel like it's more of him already used to the fact that like Shohei's a nice guy. You know, he's been very supportive of Noah throughout this before. And then he wasn't thinking of Shohei's feelings. He was just thinking of, oh, Shohei's the guy that I go to for advice sometimes. And like, this is one of those situations where something happened and I wanted to tell him about
seeking
it.
advice? Is that how you see it?
Maybe not seeking advice, but that's like, other than him, like literally just being a jerk. That's the only thing I could think of, like, as to how
Right.
maybe he was so in his own head that he was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I tell Shohei everything.
Yeah, he was thinking of him more as a friend, as an advisor than, you know,
An enemy
as
in romance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
than someone in
Rival.
competition with. And the sadness about this is that Shohei was even giving Noah good pointers, good tips to have a clean break with Yui. Right?
Yeah.
Remember that he was encouraging him to do that right away, so that paved the way for Seina.
Yeah.
Sad.
So maybe
Yeah,
that's why in his head he was like, oh, this is fine to talk about with Shohei because he helped me out already.
Yeah, maybe that's the way he looked at it, but it didn't go the way he pictured it in his head. And he was trying to, I don't know if he was laughing just to kind of break up the awkwardness, but it just resulted in the opposite effect.
Yeah, the laughing made it way worse. And
Yeah, it made it so much worse.
and to me, where I can understand maybe, yeah, he's coming at it as like, oh, he's my friend, I tell him everything. When your
Right.
friend confesses to that girl at a church that he called ahead of time and was like, "Hey, I want to confess to this girl. Can I do it at your church?"
We don't care. We're a public place.
Yeah.
I'm coming in next Saturday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I don't know why you're telling me this.
Normal business hours,
You can just go in. We don't give a shit.
But so yeah, like this is a very grand gesture. So clearly Shohei is very invested in Seina, and the fact they got rejected was devastating. And to not have the mental acuity to think like maybe telling him now isn't the best idea, that I kissed the girl he was chasing, like I think there's just a lot of disconnect there, and like that's beyond not really thinking about your other friend's feelings, and it's more into something ignorant.
Yeah, it just does not look good for any reason, and that's why I thought that it was even stranger when we get to Shohei leaving during the barbecue / concert, whatever you want to call it, that Noah was basically bawling his eyes out when everyone else was. And like, I understand like everyone else, it's very emotional and everyone's sad and stuff, but it's like, dude, Noah, like you like stabbed him in the back.
That was somehow it made it sadder for me. I was like, wow, if Noah's crying, then this must be really fucking sad. I mean, Shohei's crying in the middle of like verse 2 and shit. I mean, that was rough. I want to download Rambling Rose right now. But I have a question for you. Now, sorry if I'm totally off base timing wise, but after this song, they all kind of hug up. Is this where the noodle slide happens? The bamboo noodle slide, or is it later? I cannot remember.
Yes.
It's driving me crazy.
Yeah,
it is.
It's right after the song. Right. Okay.
They do
We
the
need to
noodle
bring this
slide.
up. We need to bring this up because, gentlemen, we have never discussed this noodle slide in any podcast form here. What the fuck,
Gentlemen?
was the noodle slide? Well, yeah, I'm talking to two of you specifically.
Oh,
We never talked about this. What is this noodle slide, Daly? If you can shed any light, there's like half bamboo shucks or whatever you call them. And there's a slide and there's water going down it. There's like a hose and they're throwing these noodles down and then they're catching them and eating them. What the actual hell is going on here? I need to know.
Yeah. So the noodles themselves are somen, and it's like something that you do in like the summer. It's called like flowing noodles, flowing somen, and it's like a summer treat because they're cold, and you have like your little bowl of sauce that you then dip the noodles that you catch in. But what that requires is to have like a hose at the top with like cold water, and then you just have someone dropping in bunches of noodles that you then have to catch before they hit the bottom, because then you can't eat them if they hit the dirt, obviously. It's just like a fun thing that you do during like Golden Week. And they do them like at parks and they do them at barbecues. It's kind of weird, but I would think it would be fun.
It's super weird, but it's just like, because eating noodles isn't exciting enough. We had to like spice it up a little bit. Is
Yes, we needed to.
I mean, I think it's the same idea as like at some bars how they have like the ice sculpture that you take shots through. I think it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
just
was so
a
weird. I've
novelty.
never seen anything like that. Yeah. Okay.
Right. It's a novelty. It's a party prop. That's
To be fair, so it's the beer bong of Japan.
Sure. Sure.
a noodle bong.
That kids can participate in.
yep.
Grab the noodle
Folks, we
bong,
found the
guys.
name
Hey,
first.
Chris, you want to hit the noodle bong tonight?
Yeah. We might be starting a whole new industry here, guys.
Take a big hit of that noodle.
I mean, also
Yeah.
Japan is the land of the sake vending machine, so I'm all for it. Let's do it.
And
There you
They
go.
have
pennies.
porn vending
There you go.
machines too on the streets.
Yeah. No, the thing that surprised me the most, other than the flowing somen at the party, was that, so prior to this, the only person Shohei told that he was going to be leaving was Taka. And, you know, they had their own cry session over that because they really became like brothers. And they like said, like, I want to be lifelong friends. I want to still be friends after this. And it was really touching. But halfway through Rambling Rose, I think even before Shohei started crying himself, that was kind of the moment that everyone realized, like, oh, he's leaving. And I'm sure there was like more hints to that we didn't get on camera. But for me, that was just a really powerful moment of like, everyone suddenly was like, oh no, he's leaving us. This is it. Like, we thought this was going to come. We just didn't know when.
Oh, was it not revealed before the song?
I don't think
No,
anyone.
he said it at the end. He said it to everyone at the end.
So
okay.
So at that point,
Got you.
only
Oh,
Taka
man.
knew. And, you know, so maybe this is my more cynical take on it. This is definitely more in regard to Colin's comment earlier about how he found it weird that Noah was crying. I think at that point, going through Noah's head, maybe it was more, it'd be worse for me if I wasn't crying. Because then I'm like that dick. And that's going to be on international TV.
Don't
Maybe,
be that
but if he
guy.
can summon the tears just like that, like, you know, insincerely,
I
like,
mean,
that's
yeah, like
kind
good for him to be able to do that.
you're like, he definitely didn't mean it.
Yeah, that's my thought at least.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like at that point, everyone else was just bawling. You know, even Seina, who was the quote unquote victim of his love attack, his romantic, you know,
Love it.
approaches, his love attack. There's a song, Shohei. Write a song for that.
The sequel to Password.
Yeah,
Love Attack. Can't wait for that anime.
Love attack.
Yeah.
Love Hack.
It was interesting at the end of the barbecue when like it was nighttime and they were like Taka and Shohei were like ugly crying and everyone was tearing up. Something came up that I noticed had been happening since Seina rejected Shohei. She's been calling him Shohei-chan, which to me was just kind of like weirdly condescending.
Oh yeah.
Like even like the moment that she rejected him was like "Gomen, Shohei-chan," like that she made herself look really confused that like this had happened when it's like, girl, you knew this was going to happen, you knew this was upcoming.
Yeah.
And then at the barbecue she was like, you know, we love you, we love you, we love you, Shohei-chan. And it was just like, but
Meaning like
Maybe-
in a belittling way, like a little brother kind of way.
like she said Daisuke, which I think like everyone there definitely like loved Shohei for sure, but it was just, it's still read as just like pretty condescending to me, especially when he was being pretty mature about their breakup.
Yeah.
Quote, unquote,
as much as
breakup.
he
Not
could be.
really,
Yeah, he didn't
yeah.
whoop that Noah ass.
Yeah.
He didn't whoop that Noah ass.
Let me like also add to the list of things that happened on Terrace House that I never thought would happen in real life. When he's like tearfully, you know, snotting all over himself, and he's like turning to Sana, he's like, "I really liked you," and she just goes, "Thanks." It's like, what interactions like that ever happen? If anyone ever teared up, it's like, "I really liked you," I wouldn't just be like, "Thank you." Yes, like it just seems so cold, man, so callous. Shohei, like
I love you. I know.
I know. Yeah. Well, all right, Han Solo, Seina-san.
And maybe
Han
to,
Seina.
to build off that, the fact that Daily thinks Seina was being very condescending to Shohei, not even like just like the next freaking episode, Noah and Seina just mac out so hard on camera. Like not even a
Oh my
brief
God.
moment of like respite for, hey, rip Shohei. It's just like, bam, he's gone. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, it's just like Shohei's worst nightmare this next episode, and they spent a disproportionate amount of time on Noah and Seina getting it on in this episode.
if this
it felt
is
like half the episode.
No, dude, if this is your first like season of Terrace House, like not to like ruin it, but like this never happens before. So like everything else is going to seem very tame in terms of love life, like compared to what happened with Noah and Seina at the karaoke bar, wherever they were.
Well, at least how much they
Yeah.
show on camera.
Like
Yeah, by the
she's
way, the
in his
word's still out
lap.
on whether or not that was public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. This is an example of the right way to grab someone's face and kiss them. Just let you guys
I mean,
know.
at the very least.
He had the hitch technique of the 70-30% going on. It was pretty good.
That's the
So
way you
one
do
of
it,
Shohei's
gentlemen.
one of Shohei's friends is like, "Listen, man, I know this is going to be hard for you to watch, but this is how you should have did it."
Oh, damn.
Let's watch the tape. Let's rewind the tape.
Yeah, rewind.
Let's do an ESPN breakdown here.
Frame by frame. Yeah, you got Kirk Herbstreit drawing circles.
Yeah, you got the yellow marker. Now you see right here. See how his lips look? That's what you want to make your lips look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, seeing them together though, that made everything made sense then. Like they're both into the same lifestyle of, you know, like going to the bar and getting like
fucked
fall down
up, yeah.
drunk and making out at the bar and then not making it home. And it's like, sure, if that jives, if you both are on that wavelength, then of course you were going to wind up finding each other and getting together. It's just that I think I don't want to blame it on other people's expectations because I'm still surprised, but you know, I think that's just the way Seina wanted to roll the entire time, and that's why she was unsatisfied with Shohei.
And I'm still, you know what? I agree with that to a certain extent. I still don't think, I don't know what happens, but I still don't think Seina really wants a relationship. I think she just wants like a fling.
She just wants to smang that.
I mean, clearly, yeah, smang it. Like she's clearly is like, take me home, or what did she say? Like, let's not go home, or I can't remember the exact line she said.
I think it was just let's go
essentially,
to a hotel.
Let's spend the night together. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, the next morning, and it occurred to me, I think you were in town, Jack, when we watched this episode. Didn't we me, you, and Robert watch it together?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we mention that when it shows Noah coming back the next morning, we're like, oh wait, Seina just went directly to work?
Yeah, what did she wear?
From the hotel?
Yeah.
Like, she's wearing the same clothes and everything, didn't shower, the sex funk off? Like,
Ooh, maybe the shower happened, but did she bring clothes? Like, was she preparing for this whole time? Did she have it, like, I don't know. Yeah, I
don't know. It's just really strange. But then, like, Noah comes in and he's just, like, announces to everyone, it's like, yeah, me and Seina, like,
we
stayed
banged
the night together.
Yeah.
We schmanged. Like, it was just whatever. No biggie.
Yeah. Everyone was just kind of like, oh, okay.
No pre.
Yeah, he's just like just in case anyone had any sort of doubts. Yeah, we did the thing. We did the thing.
One of the cringy things with that was Yui's reaction to that. Like the girls there, were like they were like clapping and stuff, and they were pretending to be happy, and it's so obvious that they weren't happy about that news, but they still had to feel like they had to act that way. I was like, that was awkward for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Knowing how the girls felt about it.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much left off with Seina and Noah being like, yeah, let's be a date. Let's date. Let's be a thing.
Let's be a date.
Let's be a date. One date. Let's
be a date.
I want to rewind us though, because I feel like we're leaving the new girl in the dust.
Yeah.
Forgetting
I love
all
Aya.
about sweet, sweet Aya. She walks in and is basically just straight up, hi, I'm Aya. Taka, you're my fucking type.
Where's Taka? Where is he?
I need Taka.
It's like comes to the door like Donkey Kong, like Taka. Like I really think and I said this before, but I really think that the producers were trying to play matchmaker here for Taka. They're like, hey, dude, you've been here a long time. Nothing's really panned out. Merry Christmas. Here's a girl that we cast solely for her because of her obsession for you, physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
You know, Taka's got to be encroaching on Armand's record for Boys and Girls in the City.
He's up there.
The longest stretch of being on the show. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how many episodes Armand was on, but he was there pretty much until the end.
Armand was there for
right?
36 episodes.
I was gonna say, ask Robert. He knows exactly.
I think it was 36, and Taka is currently at 32.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which we'll find out here really quickly how much longer he's going to be on. So
yeah,
we'll talk about predictions in a little while.
Yeah, in the next episode.
But
yeah,
now I think Aya and Taka are gelling pretty well. I feel like he might have been a little overwhelmed at first and maybe still feeling a little burnt from Ami when Aya first came on and was like, oh, you're definitely my type. And it's like, I've been watching, the show and everything. And she was the one that like asked him out and was like, you should take me to go get like ice cream. I like ice cream. And they did. And it was cute. I think they work really well. They talk. And she's not, like Mayu was, where, what was it that he described? He was like, flowers follow you where you go.
Yeah, she frolics wherever she moves or something like that.
Yeah, I think she's a good in-between between like Ami being like really kind of cold and like not making up her mind, and Mayu who's all like, hua, versus, and Aya's just in the middle there.
Yeah, Aya's got some good chutzpah. I like her. She's someone I'd like to actually like go to coffee with or something, Like she looks like she'd be a lot of fun. I can't shake the feeling though that I think they're not going to be together.
Hey, you're encroaching on the next episode.
I am encroaching, true. But I guess throughout this part, they go on a few cute dates. They do the skateboarding date. They did that ice cream date. And I feel like they went on one more maybe that I'm forgetting.
They had presents. They exchanged gifts.
Yeah,
Dude, got them underwear.
Got a robe that said, "I think you're beautiful" or something like. You are beautiful.
You are beautiful.
No, it was a towel.
Yeah, it was a
towel.
towel.
Hey.
It's
Yes.
lotion.
You guys are right too. Aya did give him some boxers, and then on the next date, he was like, "Yes, my son
Here
is
they are."
comfortable.
It's like, I'm glad. You didn't have to tell me that.
My son is comfortable."
But I'm glad.
That is a quote. We're writing that down right
Oh gosh, yeah. My son, stop.
now. Listen, no one. I don't know anyone, and I've lived a lot of life. I've never known anyone use that phrase and that word to describe that in quite that way, gentlemen.
They're delicates.
I never want to hear it again.
Did that rub you the wrong way?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't rub his son the wrong way.
Oh,
I knew that was
stop it.
coming.
Stop it.
We're
Was that
getting-
no? Was that like a weird thing? Like, I mean, he laughed. He seemed to get a laugh out of it. Taka was very amused with himself.
Yeah.
What was your
that's-
take? What was your reaction when that happened, Daly?
I was like, really? Like, there's many euphemisms that can be used, but that one just was like, eh.
It was just-
like,
it
if you
wasn't
said
even
like,
funny. It was just
soba
like, eh.
stick, which I kind of like have already been used to because of the commentators. That's one thing,
Soba stick.
but son,
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little
Son.
strange.
it might be a Japanese thing.
And she was
it
like,
is
no,
one of those cultural
she's-
barriers.
Oh, is it? She was like, I was like, I'm glad. I didn't ask, but I'm glad.
I'm glad. TMI, but good for you.
Good for
But I
you.
mean, here's the thing though, like boxers as a gift from a girl that you're not even dating yet, like officially, that's a very intimate gift. I think I would definitely think that's not a friend zone gift, right? Like if
No, that's definitely
if I was dating,
flirtatious.
if I was dating someone and they got a friend at work, a guy friend at work, like boxers, I'd be like, excuse me, you know what I mean? Because she's already like, I'm thinking about your boxer area. Essentially, it's like the unspoken thing there. You know what I mean?
And beyond that too, like, I mean, it's a common thread nowadays, but the idea of like gifting someone underwear or socks, like those are things people don't buy for themselves often, and like getting it as a gift is like very thoughtful.
Yeah, I
agree
don't
with
think it's
that.
friend zone stuff. I don't think that's friend zone. That's not no Amazon gift
No.
card. We ain't giving away no boxers on our contest on this podcast.
Oh,
maybe we
we
should
should.
now.
We should,
Maybe it's
maybe.
like theme appropriate.
I mean, with Aya, there's just been no ambiguity. Like, she's just like, yes, I like Taka. I'm just kind of waiting and seeing if he likes me back. And it even is to the point where like people have had to mention to him, and it's like, hey, like she likes you, but she thinks that you don't like her because you won't make eye contact with her or you won't do this.
Yeah, he acts a little bit weird around her sometimes, which
Yeah, he acts like he has his guard up. Like he's like, it's almost like he thinks it's too good to be true, like, or something like that. I don't know. It puts me off because it's obvious that he likes her, but it's like he can't get himself to believe it.
I mean,
If that
also
makes
like he's probably very scared to like screw it up too, because it'd be ultra rejection if like this is like teed up for you, so to speak, and you strike out somehow too.
and
So
Right.
that might be nerves there too.
and another part of the nerves might also be that, how to phrase this, it's kind of like your biggest fan is trying to date you rather than another human being who you've gotten to know, because like she introduced herself basically as
Right.
I am your fan, I've seen you on Terrace House and you're just my type, you know.
Like play,
Maybe.
like don't treat him like an idol, because then you're gonna get treated like a fan. Play
Exactly.
stupid games, win stupid prizes, essentially.
Right, and he just
Yeah.
doesn't,
That's fair.
he doesn't want to be on a pedestal, I guess, to put it that way.
Right, and another thing is after he went through the whole Ami arc, right, he was so used to, maybe at that point, being the person that's chasing the other, where now the roles are reversed, and he's not really having to do the chasing as much, right? He's more so he just has to accept Aya, and like, basically in. He's got to let her in. He's got to let his guard down. And that's where we're at right now, and that's where we're waiting to see if that happens or not.
She
I have
put
a
that
theory.
Taka on a pedestal, guys.
Don't do it. Put him on a snowboard. But I have a
you go.
theory. I have a theory, but that's for the next episode as to
Oh.
what
Write
Taka's
it down, don't lose it.
reservations are.
Spoiler.
Yeah,
cast.
don't lose it.
Spoilers.
So one last pin I want to put on the Taka Aya talk is that in this part we have also seen back on Taka's home farm with his dad and his older brother, who have both been asking him, so
Oh yeah.
find a girl yet? You
Damn, there's pressure from all
yeah,
sides.
you getting ready to get married? Have some kids?
That's the last thing you got to do, right? You just got to get married.
Yep,
I mean, I guess 31 is considered old to be single, apparently.
guess so. So that there's just a lot of pressure on Taka, perhaps. I want to end this episode by talking about the newest member, the shinnest member of our Terrace House, Shunsuke Izuku, who comes in, or is it Izukoe, right?
Yeah, he's a killer.
He comes in to replace Shohei after he Ramble Roses is on his way on out of there. And Shunsuke is 21 years old, aspiring makeup and hair artist, but what makes him extra interesting for the Terrace House is this is the first time unless it happened in the very first season that I've never seen. But
This is the first.
Yeah, it's the first time we have gotten an LGBT member of the someone in the LGBT community in the show. He has claimed that he identifies as bisexual, or at least he's a little bit confused and wants to explore and figure things out.
He's looking for a bear. He basically asked. He wasn't in the house 5 minutes. Like, you guys know any guys?
Yes.
Yeah, wow, like show history here. So that's cool. It's going to be interesting. It's going to definitely be a curveball, you know, from what we've come to know and expect from Terrace House. And I think it's funny, too, his friends, when they're doing the preview where they don't really show anyone's eyes yet, his friends are asking him, like, are you going to sleep in the girls' room or the guys' room? And it's like, no, the guys' room. Yeah, totally. So
Yeah.
I'm hype because I think one of the things a reservation I had with Terrace House was I was like, well, this just assumes everyone's heterosexuality. This makes that the default because it's, 6 guys and 6 girls. And maybe that kind of upset could happen at some point where like maybe 2 of the girls start hanging out more, 2 of the guys start hanging out more in less of a platonic way. But this definitely like puts a name to it and puts it out there as a possibility. And you know, kind of takes that default off, checks it off, which I'm really hype about.
Yeah. And it's just interesting to note that, I mean, I guess any kind of sexuality that isn't just straight on hetero in Japan is just very, not looked down upon, but it's not as big as it is here in the US. It's not as widely accepted as it is in America.
I don't mean to open this whole can of worms, but Japan is like widely known as one of the most sexist cultures on the planet, essentially. Like, men and women have their roles. They're very well defined. You know, the men, like where you stand in an elevator, who gets the tea ready, who speaks when. It's very based on, a lot of that is predicated on what your sex is. So it's interesting to see. My hope is, fingers crossed, I don't know what's going to happen, but my hope is that this cycle of when people don't find any love right away, they leave. I hope that that's not the case with this person. If he's the only one there, right, he's going to have to find love until maybe someone else comes into the house that might be, interested in him. Like, he might have to look outside of the house for any kind of dating possibilities. And so maybe that would mean that his visit and stay at Terrace House is not as long. So I hope that doesn't happen, but only time will tell.
Yeah, I just think it's a step in the right direction, though, for sure. And I mean, things are getting better both in Japan and here in the States regarding LGBT rights, right? I mean, we just got same-sex marriage like 2 years ago, right? In the States.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. So, things are looking up. And now that Netflix is international and it's affecting Terrace House, things in Terrace House are going up. So I'm just very excited to see how Shunsuke shakes out, because we really don't know much about him. We see him for about 5 minutes and then this part ends.
Right. And I'm really just excited to see like a bisexual person on the show and just to see how that changes the dynamic in the house. Right. I feel like that's going to bring a whole new set of occurrences that we've never seen before in the show. So that'll be super interesting. And I think I share your sentiment, Robert, where like maybe it was you, Jack, that said that he's probably going to be looking outside the house for someone. And I think that's also a first, right? That would be a first that if he does end up with someone outside the house.
Well,
no, there's been some. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's a unique situation, and it also, there's a high potential here for good stuff, but there also is, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but there's just high potential here for bad stuff too. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to hear
things I worry about.
Same. I'm interested to hear what the panelists are going to say too, because I remember that they have made quite a few, maybe he swings for the other team kind of jokes, and now those jokes are actually reality on the show. Like, there is actually someone who bats for both teams, right? To use that euphemism.
Fucking jokes.
Yeah, the word for bisexuality in Japanese is ryo se aisha, and ryo is literally just both.
Mm. And what's say
Both
Aisha?
teams.
Porque
swinging
no
for.
los dos. Why not both?
What's say Aisha? Just out of curiosity.
Say Aisha, as far as that's like sexuality. Because then you have like lesbian is Jose do se Aisha, and Jose is like woman.
Girl.
So yeah.
That's cool. It's good to know.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much has us all caught up with the end of part 4. Unless
We're
I'm
here.
missing something.
We are there. We're on the precipice.
We have arrived.
We're on the edge of glory. So the next episode, we're going to be talking about our predictions for what part 5 is going to be. Our hopes, our dreams, our gambles, our bets. All of that will be laid out to bear on the next episode, which you can expect next Monday. No, this Thursday. I also want to give a little shout out here as a correction for our show. So in episode 2, we talked about how Terrace House Closing Door, the movie, did not debut in theaters, when in fact it actually did debut in theaters on Valentine's Day of 2015, which is cute. And we got that information from someone named Scott in our Facebook group. Shout out to Scott. And if you want to read more about his post, because he posted a lot of information actually about the host, that's very interesting. And if you want to interact with us, just go to Tadaima Clan it's one of our Facebook groups. Just go to facebook.com/group/Tadaima Clan, or just search it and hit us up there. It'll be a lot of fun.
We got a Facebook group, guys. Join it, Tadaima Clan. And turns out that when you put stuff out on the internet, you'll get corrections back. I promise you that.
That's good.
There's people that know more than you on the internet, guys. Sorry to break your hearts.
Right.
No, but it only sets to encourage. Like, if we get something wrong, we get something wrong. Just let us know, guys.
Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah.
We're human just like all
yes,
y'all.
It's a dialogue here. Join
Yes.
the conversation.
We are now fully officially on iTunes and also all of the
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
all of your locations that you're looking for podcasts. So please, if you're enjoying the show, give us an iTunes review. It would mean a lot, and it would actually tie in very well to this contest that we're running. Jack?
So, guys, we are now in the early weeks and days of Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast, and so we really need your help. This is an absolute grassroots effort here, but we need we're trying to build this community, this following here of Terrace House fans. You know, we're small, we're tight knit, we're misunderstood often, but damn it, we're here for you, and we want to build this up. Okay, so basically we're going to do a contest here. We're going to make it worth your while, and so essentially all you need to do to enter the contest is very easy. 3 things. First, follow us on Instagram at TadaimaGram, and then also follow us on Twitter at TadaimaPod. And then the last thing you need to do, leave us an iTunes review, or leave us a review anywhere, honestly, and preferably a good one. But I'm not going to strong arm you into that. But if any 5-star reviews or any good reviews on iTunes is only going to help us, again, gain that visibility. It's very important here in the early goings, in the early weeks. So this is going to be, a contest that we're going to make it worth your while. If you do those 3 things, then you're automatically entered into the contest, and it's going to be a good prize. I promise you. You'll certainly be able to buy yourself some boxers, some towels that say you're beautiful, some body lotion. But in all seriousness, like, this is going to be a good contest. So this is something you want to join. Again, just follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and leave us an iTunes review. That's it. Okay, Let's do it. And we'll remind you more, with every episode and all that. And we hope to wrap this up here several weeks down the road, but don't wait now. Just go ahead and do it and get your entry in fast. And help us out.
And if you miss those handles, they'll also be at the end of the show. So feel free to stick around then. And if you also have any questions for us, you can email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. We'd love to read any of your feedback on the show if you want us to, or anything that you think would generate good discussion. We'd love to speak about it in your ears. So that is the end of today's show. This has been Tadaima. Thanks for listening. Itekimasu! Email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com and follow us on Instagram at TadaimaGram and on Twitter at TadaimaPod. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube at Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast.